2016 will commence our pledge allegiance to the flag. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Carter County taking the meeting. Mike Wkcm is taking plus video of 2012 meeting, 2016 September 12 meeting. Let me know that our solicitor had a prior commitment and is not here this evening, and our other councilman is in transit. He will be here shortly. Comment from the public. I will give you 10 minutes, starting with Larry Edwards. 5 minutes.
Thanks to council, and also to the borough workers for the cooperation over our 5K race. Thank you very much. You guys help out us a lot. The other thing is I gave you a letter about the kids club will start here, and we're just seeking permission again this year to put out these signs. About 20 of them around, and then we take them down after 2 weeks. That's it, I'm done.
Lindsay Cambridge, newsletter.
It's Lindsay Cumberland.
I
gave Mayor Svisky a 3 copies of the newsletter from Crime Watch. We were looking to get that approved so we can start getting that out at the beginning of October. On the back page, the only thing that I need to make sure it's correct is the trick-or-treat night. I highlighted it in yellow for you guys. And we also have a Crime Watch meeting tomorrow night at 7:30, and I'm going to present it there too.
Okay, you took care of both of them at once. That's all right. Bob Toy.
I just want to know, the solicitor's not here, but did he send a letter to my neighbors at 106 Harding Street about the...
He did.
He didn't hear anything back?
Well, they acknowledged that they received a letter.
Okay.
That I know, and said that they were going to take care of it.
Well,
He emailed me that earlier today.
they haven't taken care of it yet. And one other question I want to ask. How much of a right-of-way does the borough have on the street?
We'd have to look on the map. I don't have one with me.
Well, the trees, it's 60, and side streets 40, and alleys 12.
So between 40 and 60 feet.
Okay, between 40 and 60 feet. Is that the middle of the highway or
From the
10
center.
of it from the middle of the highway. You'd have either 20 feet from the middle or 30 feet to your property line.
Okay, 30 feet to your property line. Okay.
Because most of the telephone poles are set right on the right-of-way, right at the edge of the right-of-way. That's been my experience with most of them.
Okay.
But are you referring to the Roofer plan?
I am.
That may be a different situation over there.
Yeah, because that was annexed from East Franklin.
Yes.
Like I said, we're going to have to look at the map
Okay.
and make a determination. We'll give you a no.
Okay.
I will give you
Yeah,
a no.
because that tree, that pine tree that is really decaying, I want to know if it's on our property, if it's on his property. That's my problem with it. Okay, thank you.
And you are talking on Harding Street?
Yes. Yes.
Somebody shut your phone off, please. Carol Augustine.
I actually have 3 questions. On last month's bills, it shows that we purchased super unleaded fuel for the police department. Is there something going on? We had an issue with this a few years ago. Was it just a whoops, or is there something going on that those vehicles need?
Unfortunately, Officer Gaggy isn't here tonight. Excuse me. I did question him about it. He says occasionally I like to run a tank full. But I also had questions on that too.
Okay, all right, thank you. And at last month's meeting, or the meeting before, it was discussed about between $5,000 and $8,000 more dollars was gonna be used for the storm sewers, because they're quite a mess. I was just wondering what budget line item you're moving that money from, that you're not gonna be spending money somewhere else.
Probably from the carryover from the previous year.
And my third question is, I would like council to consider to stop paying the insurance for the fire hall, for the building, for burglary. I personally know of 2 incidents that happened down there, and nothing happened because it was conveniently swept under the rug. So I don't think it's fair to the people in the borough that we're paying property insurance for the fire hall when the people at the fire hall aren't taking care of what they need to take care of.
How do you do this personally?
Because one of them, I was down there when it happened.
What happened to burglary? Or what did she say?
I don't know, I wasn't gonna bring in any details, but if you guys want the details, I'll be more than happy to tell you.
Go ahead, tell them.
Okay, Colby Atwood was filmed climbing in the window, and he stole gas, and climbed back out the window, put it in his truck. He climbed in the window, because I was down there with Mickey, she's not even here. We were doing some wiring for an event I was gonna have done. We saw him in the truck room, trying to shut the big metal doors on the back of whatever truck sits right there by the lounge. He didn't see us watching him. And then he kind of disappeared. And then when we were almost done, we had to go back in the lounge to hook the TV back up. And he comes in and was acting all fidgety. And I thought it looked weird. And so we did what we needed to do and left. Well, the next day, Mickey called and said, you need to come down and make a statement to the police because Joe Moores called somebody and they have it on film that Colby Atwood climbed in the window and stole gas. Well, it was to go to the magistrate, and the president of the fire department was here, and he went and dropped the charges. So why should the citizens of Wkcm have to pay insurance if the people that are in charge of the fire hall aren't doing what they need to do?
Ernie?
Well, first of all, the gasoline is not paid for by the borough residents.
It's the idea that he broke in the fire hall.
But the borough, the fire department is a separate entity.
Yeah, but we pay the insurance for that.
So do I.
So, well, I think we shouldn't. I think if you guys want to give stuff away for free and not care that people come in your building and take things, then that's
Wait,
on
hold
you.
it. Can I speak or?
Go ahead, Gary, I can give you 4
Thank you,
details.
thank you. First of all, you're making slanders on accusations that I dropped the charges when it was the fire department vote that dropped the charges, not me personally. Because I am the president of the fire department, was instructed by our police department that I was be the one that had to go down and drop the charges, which is what I did by the authority of the members of the department. Now, just so everybody knows, the diesel fuel is paid for by the borough. Gasoline is bought by the fire department, which is what the agreement was about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, when we had another incident. Correct,
Yes.
Harley? All the borough pays for is the diesel, correct? As far as fuel. So when you're making accusations, get your facts straight that I did not do it. Wait a minute, I have the floor. You just said here, and we can repeat what was said on the recording, that I dropped the charges. I dropped the charges on behalf of the fire department. So I would like that retracted. You had that.
Okay, well, I know that you dropped the charges. I didn't realize there was a vote at the fire hall.
There was.
But the issue is that the citizens of this borough shouldn't have to pay insurance if things aren't going to be taken care of down there. I just wanted to make it known.
It was taken care of. He replaced the gas. That was the agreement.
What about climbing in the window?
He's a member. I climb in the window when I forget my key. I've climbed that many times.
Oh, that's secure.
I'll comment on that window. The window was not locked.
That's correct.
When I received a phone call that the party went through the window, and after viewing the tapes and so forth, I went ahead and checked all the windows, and those windows will never open again. I will vouch for that.
Wasn't it a concern to anybody else?
Pardon me?
Isn't it a concern concern to anybody else, so if they forget their key, they can climb in the window, so that
Well,
we
they can't
can.
climb in a window yet anymore.
But do you understand my concern?
Well, that was, somebody had left that window open for some reason, never locked it.
Well, Bernie said he's climbed in the window. So what?
It's been open in the past, the window has been open in the past, and yes, there's been many people climb through it. Because, only because if it's open, we climb through that for a key. I didn't know it was open this time, it should have been locked, yes, I agree. But first of all, that's an issue you have with the fire department, not with the board.
Well, I was told that the fire department meetings were closed and that the public couldn't get in there. That's why I brought the issue here, if that's one.
That's fine. Carol, you can speak how you want to speak. That's fine. I'm just telling you the facts. That is the facts. It was voted on by the membership. There was probably 14 guys at the fire department at that meeting that night. It was voted unanimously. I think maybe we might have been one that voted against it, that we handled it internally, which is what we did. He replaced the gas, and that's the way it was left. So I was instructed by Mr. Gahagan, Officer Gahagan. I was the one that had to drop the charge and become the president. That's why I did that on behalf of the fire department. Not my decision, it wasn't my decision. I didn't even have a vote on it. I don't vote president of the vote on it. So I had no vote on the matter, other than break ties.
One thing to add, Carly, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the only insurance we pay down there is the vehicle insurance and liability.
No.
We pay everything.
Anything you don't pay is to do with what? We're paying for that ourselves. And the trailer. That all you have?
Yeah, I'm disgustingly done, thank you.
You know where your list stood, huh?
What's the deal, 119 Arthur Street? I read that the vote on the police protection in Wkcm is going to be held tonight. Is that true?
No.
Where'd you read that?
It was in the newspaper in the minutes. One of the
I
two.
didn't see it.
So that,
As far as I know, there's not going to be no vote.
okay, President Morris would like the committee to give a report at the September meeting. So that there'll be a report with no vote?
I don't think we
Actually, we got to meet again because the last meeting we had, one of the members was absent. So we got to have another meeting.
Okay. So when we receive a contract from Kittanning Borough, will Weston County residents be informed of the terms of the contract prior to
Wait a
voting?
minute. I don't know where you're getting that information. Yeah, I don't know where you're getting this information.
Some information too that
There's nobody asked for a contract for Kittanning.
Well,
I don't know where you're getting your
I
information.
got it, but I want to stay up on this so nobody tries to railroad this through, on council, certain members of council.
Nobody's going to railroad it through.
All right, I just want to be upfront about
This is
it.
a different council than was on before.
Well, yeah, sort of.
Yeah, well, the last time you know what your comment, let me tell you what your comment was the last time?
Sure.
If we contract with Kittanning Police, West Kittanning will lose their identity.
Well, they possibly will.
No, we're not changing the name of the borough.
Well,
Still, we're going to call West Kittanning Borough.
well, we'll see about that. I don't want West Kittanning to become Kittanning West, okay?
What's that?
I don't want West Kittanning to become Kittanning West.
You know better than that. You can't change the name of the borough.
Oh, no, yes.
You know better than that.
Well,
Mr.
okay.
Bill,
Thank you.
Mr. Bill,
Yes.
I believe to sum this all up, the police committee was going to meet and discuss, get some ideas together if we wanted to do. There was no vote being, no vote being taken, Other than that they bring something up tonight, that was not on the minutes.
Thank you, appreciate that.
I don't know where this come up that we were going to vote on it. We had one police committee meeting, and we had a second one, and at the second one, there was only 2 of us there, so we decided to reschedule
Okay,
it.
so there will be no report tonight then?
What's that?
There will be no report tonight in the police committee?
No, not yet.
At the next meeting then?
Hopefully.
If everybody's there?
Hopefully.
All right, thank you.
He's from 4th Street, that's complaint. On the road.
Brian, or Jeff here,
Go ahead.
in the minutes, mayor's report, it does say Bisbee would like council to make a final decision about retaining the police department. Councilperson Vanesky said the police committee is going to meet Monday, August 8th at 6, and will discuss the issue. President Morris would like the committee to give a report at September's meeting. That is in the minutes.
I know, so we had one meeting and we decided that we needed more information, and in fact, Bob was going to gather some of it, and we did. In the second meeting, there was only 2 of us here, so we need to reschedule.
Fine, but I just wanted to clarify that.
Well, I know, but it doesn't say anything in there about taking photos.
No, President Morris wanted to report. More. President Morris.
Okay. You finished, Ken? Cliff?
Yes, thank you.
All right. We'll let Verizon for public to be heard. Kenny? Ken?
Yeah, I want to talk about Ford Street. Something needs done with it bad. I mean, it's bad. Water right now is the way it is. It's an inch from going over the road and running down the hill. Okay? In the winter time and in the spring, there's no base under it anymore at all. There hasn't been nothing done for 10 years to that road, nothing. Anything that's ever been done is what I do to it. When they plow the stone up in the winter time, I put it all back on. Something needs done with it. I mean, it's bad.
Is this Kent Gable?
Yeah.
I got a phone call on it. That's Ed, your brother-in-law?
Yeah.
Ed called me on this. We went over and looked at it. I'll report on to it.
I mean, it's bad.
Well, I disagree. It's not that. I'll tell you what, that first part, actually, you've got a highway over there compared to some of them. But apparently you never talked to your brother-in-law after I talked to you.
No.
So that's the problem. That first part, where you go from Ford over to yours, needs something done.
Oh, it's bad.
Yeah. No, it's not bad. It's not good.
It's bad.
Yeah. Are you working for the highway?
I've worked 35 years in the highways.
Yeah.
My wife, she has a daycare center. People have to stop before going in there. It's so bad.
I agree with you.
And then also, there's no base in the spring when you get through the turns. They don't buy the hole that deep.
Okay.
It needs base put on it. I'll tell you what needs done to it. This is my opinion. You just can do what you want to do. It needs millings put on it 4 or 5 inches and roll it in. Then do something with it on top. Tar and chip it or something. But that's the only thing that's going to make it hold up.
Right.
And then the hill, that's another problem.
It is.
All they need to do is put coal patch in where the holes are at. It just, now when you run over, it's just flaking more chunks off and making bigger holes. Then the water line, that's a disgrace. It used to be 8, 10 foot long, now it's about 30 feet long. And nothing's been done about it. I was in here last year, nothing.
I wasn't here last year, so
Well, I understand, but it's...
But we went over and looked at that road.
I come out and you were gone. You were only there for 10 seconds or so. And I come out and you were...
What, 10 seconds? But that's okay, whatever you want to
A minute, whatever.
We went over and looked at that road, and we're going to take care of that first half right away. Because it's all, where it comes out onto Ford Street,
Yeah.
that's a mess.
Well, see, I'll tell you what the problem is. The edges need cut. I did it last year myself. I used to keep the road all swept off and everything. It's too hard. All that flaking, it just doesn't do no good. But the edges, no water can get off on the edges, and it runs down the road, and the more speed it makes, it just washes everything out.
Your blacktop driveway adds a lot of water to that. Now, that's not an excuse, because you did a nice job with it. We all want to make our place look nice. But that water on your driveway is really adding to that.
Well, I'll tell you what, that's been there for 10 or 12 years. But what the problem is, the road used to always slope to that ditch. Now it's got wheel ruts in it. My mother-in-law rides a bus every day. She has dialysis. And it comes in there 3 days a week, one of them big buses. And that ain't helping things either. But
Where's your mother-in-law live?
with us.
Oh, I see.
And she dialysis 3 days a week. And it's just getting so bad, the water's running down them ruts, that it runs down that hill, and it's just starting to tear the hill out. I mean, it needs something done with it bad.
Ed and I talked about that. Apparently he didn't get back to you.
No.
All right.
Well, like I said, Kenny and I talked. I didn't get back. I know Bob mentioned about maybe doing something next year. And now I talked to Jim Meckling whenever Ken mentioned about millings. And Jim's supposed to get back in touch with me tonight. I have a chance to get 60 tons of millings free from the borough of Wkcm maybe. So I don't know if that's what the borough would want to do, or put something on it, at least to get a base on it.
See, My suggestion, don't do nothing to it this year. Because you gotta have a plot for them millings to roll in. See, I did that whole hill before, everybody knew about that. I bought them when I come home from work and tailgate them down the road. They lasted for 10 years or so, then finally they started going bad, naturally, and then they come in and paved it. But
Because in '95, Wkcm and I, we did Hill Avenue, and it lasted a long time. Except we didn't finish the last about 20 feet because Barry killed us.
now, I know I'm the only house on that road.
Well, that doesn't mean you should pay that kind of price.
Right. Anytime it's been any stone put on in those 10 years, I put a little bit on it here or there, by 10 times here and there, but I had to do something with it. But it's so bad now, there's no sense putting stone on it because what they plow it out in the wintertime.
You want to go back out tomorrow morning? You, me, Rick, Ed?
But I think if we get some dumping on it.
Okay,
we
what we're gonna do
sometimes
is, I'm gonna make a motion, not a motion, I'm gonna put a meeting. Tomorrow morning, at 8:30, you, me, Rick, Bob, we will walk.
I have a 9 o'clock appointment, so we're going to do it, we do it at 8 o'clock.
You wanna do it earlier? Or
Unless you
after?
want to do it at 10 o'clock.
10 o'clock will be all right. Because I have an exterminator coming too. Okay, 10 o'clock, we're gonna meet up on the Hill Avenue.
Like I said, just look at it, see what you think. I mean, like I said, it's only an inch. You get heavy rains now, and it just runs across that dirt road and then runs down the hill. And it's wiping the hill out too, because you can't get into them gutters, that stone gutter going down, that brick gutter.
Yeah, because those brick gutters are still there yet.
Okay, there'll be 4 of us up there at 10 o'clock tomorrow. No, the people.
You gonna be there, Ken?
I won't be around tomorrow. I got obligations tomorrow, I can't be there.
No,
You don't really need to be, you just can look at it and see
No,
what
but I
it's.
just didn't know if you were gonna.
Yeah, I can't be there tomorrow.
we will be there tomorrow. Okay, there's no more public comment. We motion for the minutes of August. Councilman, have that? Everybody had a chance to look at it? We need a motion to accept the August minutes.
I'll make a motion
Motion by Nancy,
that we accept the August minutes.
second.
Second.
Second by Bob. All in favor?
All right.
Aye, unanimous. Mayor's report.
Captain Hagan, before I give you the report, we had a question from an audience member questioning the use of high-test fuel in a police car. Would you please explain the reason for using it?
We use high-test fuel in fuel cars and the police cars for 2 separate reasons. That's what they were set to operate on. As a police unit, it's set to actually operate on a high-test range of fuel. They can burn a lower test rating, but it's harder on the storage and spark plugs, carburation systems, injectors, and things of that nature. So we try to figure out a way or for a period of time operate under high-test fuel because that's what the cars were designed and set up to do.
Thank you. Would you like to give your report now?
Sure. For the month of August, there were 31 citations issued for traffic and city warnings. For non-traffic citations issued, there were 1 underage consumption, 2 public drunkenness, 1 bad text, and 1 domestic assault. Under the criminal issue, there was DUI, 3 possession of narcotics, 3 possessions of drug paraphernalia, theft of property, 1 burglary. In the ordinance, there was a draft investigation that was conducted. And for the safety notes, school back in session, drivers need to be extra careful when operating their vehicles in or around the area. Passing a school bus employed and in the business of loaning children is an offense by Title 75 of the Vehicle Code, which carries an automatic suspension of your driving privileges. Please drive carefully.
Thank you. I've got a couple of comments. It's my understanding that the room between the police department and the secretary's office was constructed as a holding area for the police department to secure unruly prisoners. There should have been a restraining bench in this plans to be placed in this room so our officers can secure prisoners while they complete the paperwork before taking the prisoner to jail. Recently, our officer responded to a domestic call in which he encountered a hostile individual. Our officer had to call for backup from a neighboring police department. After arresting the individual, the answering police department had to be asked to take the prisoner to their lockup in order for our officer to complete the necessary paperwork for committing the prisoner to Armstrong County Jail. I'm asking council for the safety of our officers and prisoners to have a restraining bench installed in this previously stated room. That's the room between, like I said, the police department and the secretary's room. It's my understanding that the walls were reinforced. I guess
They were.
I don't know if anyone from previous council knows anything
That
about
wasn't,
it.
that was in the original
That was
plan.
the original
It
plan,
was.
Yes.
who was never,
Mr. President.
never right, finished.
I remember our first touring the Senate and everything over there at that space. There was a designated area where somebody was going to install or anchor shackles and handcuffs and everything for use as a holding area. Now, I don't know if it was ever put in.
No, it was never done, never, the building wasn't completed
Was there some
properly, period.
kind of restriction that you had to have a available restroom in that holding cell area?
No, can't do that.
I just remember about the shackles.
So do
They
I.
were going to put on
There
the
was
wall.
supposed to be a bench, the walls were reinforced so they couldn't smash through it. There's a one-way glass in there, and the table and the shackles were never installed. What we can do is, I think, get our engineer to come up and take a look at it, see what he would think of it, because what is going to have to be done is bolted to the floor. And it should be a totally metal table, not a metal wood table.
Would offer a suggestion that you check with Plenty Hotel.
That's what I was going to bring up. I know Ford City Police Department had them make one.
Several police departments, including the state police, who have two of them, was made by Plenty Tech.
We can do that.
They would probably make what's a bench that they bolt to the floor with the shackle ring on the bottom where they can put their
I think all you have to pay is for the material.
You know, we can have a D-ring on the top of the table where the handcuffs can
This isn't a table, it's a bench.
The bench,
And it's which is what Jim, which is what the mayor preferred.
yeah.
And I'm sure because they've made this several, they probably already know how to make it. Not gonna have to reinvent the wheel.
We can have brick
Two out the state
bolted to
police.
the floor.
Yeah.
Be lead anchors and carriage bolts into the floor. The floor is thick enough to hold it.
Thank you for that. Then on December 28th and 29th of this year, there's going to be a training session at the Brentwood Police, at the Brentwood School, with the Brentwood School Police on an active shooter response management. I passed out a forward to everybody. It's from, it says Alice. Being that we have a school located within our board, I'm asking you to send our two officers to this training. Bad news is the cost to register is $595 per person. Like I said, with the school being located within our board, I think this would be a good investment for our officers to attend. Any comments?
I think it's a wonderful idea.
They certainly emailed to Mike,
Yeah,
I sent one, but
for the rest of them.
what would happen if we did have something, we didn't have trained officers?
I'll make that motion now unless you want to do it under new business, Larry. Up to you. Al?
Go ahead and make it
I'll make the motion, we send both of our officers to this training. I think, I brought that up a couple years ago when I was mayor. I mean, not, just to, some training for them, but that wasn't like this. But, I make that motion, we send both our officers.
I'll second that.
Motion by Bernie Bowser to send our two police officers to training at a cost of $595 per person. Both officers will go. It was seconded by Paul Henry. All in favor? Aye. Unanimously approved.
Thank you. This has to do with training. Again, 2 weeks ago, Officer Eric attended the workshop held at the Allegheny County Police Academy in Ellison Park. The training was called New in Drugs, and it focused on new and different drugs and abuses. Officer Eric Brook will be talking about this subject tomorrow at our Crime Watch meeting. And I encourage all council members and residents to attend the 7 p.m. meeting here at the board building to see what's new in drugs and what's going on with them. That's it for my report.
Thank you, Jim.
You get, I understand, the copy was sent to you from John about the coffee. Did you want to?
Let's not bring that up right now.
Okay, because the mayor is speaking, that's why I don't need to bring it up.
It actually wasn't addressed to me, it's addressed to the council.
CC Jim Sabiski.
I think, I don't know.
Doesn't matter.
I think
Talk
I
about it.
know
We
this.
want to talk about it.
Come up under letters to be read. Mayor's report, we've got finished. You done? Okay. This time we'll go to committees, building committee.
Other than I want to get with you, discuss a couple of things, nothing that needs to be discussed right now. I'll talk to you about those. But other than that, that's it.
Okay, thank you. Public Works, Paul?
Well, since last meeting, of course, we had our paving done. Just let you know that 190 feet of Nixon was paved, 480 feet of Northern Avenue, 700 foot of Crescent Drive, 360 foot of Orchard Lane, 155 of Plum Way. Actually, the Orchard Lane, they shipping their stuff in from, I think, Blairsville. They had extra material, so they sent along, got an extra 100 feet out of Orchard Lane.
Yeah.
On top of that, and that was for the price of $39,000 that we had agreed to. I haven't seen the bill on it yet. That they also did patch areas, 5 areas where we replaced the underground
Sewerage.
water, no, the water runoff.
Right.
Which I want to comment on that in a couple of minutes. We also waiving maintenance to replace the water runoff basins where the ground was dimpling, where the pipes have deteriorated and caved in, really. We did 35 foot on Garfield Street and Central Avenue, repaired the catch basin, and did a replacement. Harrison Street and Central, we did 60 feet, the catch basin repaired, and 33 feet on Harrison Street and Pear Way, and the catch basin repaired. What we're doing is different from Pine Hill, where we had to replace the whole catch basin with a prefab. They've been rebuilding the other basins, and they've become very good at it. So
Yeah.
they're doing this. One of the problems we have, and we're going to continue to have, is the deterioration of the pipes in the bore. As you know, this replacement we did here are rather than repairs, in addition to the ones we've already done that I talked to you about the last meeting, or even the meeting before. We have pipes we're finding within pipes, and I brought an example. I wanted to show you. The rubber pipe there is really metal pipes that were replaced, the metal ones that have decayed. They're coming out in pieces. You can't even bring them to a meeting to show to anybody because they're a mess. They're just pieces of pipe. It's corrugated. What we find in our pipes that in the repairs before, no matter when they were done or who was in charge, it makes no difference. They're putting pipe within pipe. So what happened, they're putting the pipe, and that's the piece of pipe that was found inside a pipe, including another, and that's a 8-inch inside a 10-inch, 12-inch pipe. We also had another one which was a 6-inch pipe, about 6-7 foot section, in an 8-inch pipe. And they really acted as clogs more than they did carrying away water. What you're looking at there now is the new pipe we're using. It's a black corrugated on the outside to withstand the pressures and rigors from the traffic over top, but it's smooth wall. In the old corrugated pipes, it was corrugated on the inside and the outside. And as it went through the outside, I'll pass these pictures around, because this shows you the corrugated pipe. This is the pipe inside a pipe. This is a pipe inside a pipe. And this is a pipe inside a pipe. And actually, so we got to get away with it. I think it's no question we're doing it correctly. That the smooth wall pipe on the inside now allows us to go in there with a fire engine or whatever source of water we have. We can now clean these pipes out. We couldn't do that with the old corrugated. And I'll let them pass on this picture. Also, the maintenance department's been out doing tree clearance trimming. They on Arthur Street, cutting trims that were coming down. Cars are hitting them or over the parking areas. And then also on Cleveland Street between 100 and 200 block. We did the replacement of the water runoffs. And there's 5 areas that we had to have blacktop in addition to the paving. I think what we want to do next year is, if we know we're going to do this water replacement, we're going to have more problems, there's no question. We've got one over in Carter now that needs replaced. It's 150 foot worth we have to replace. If we know we're going to be ripping up a street, we ought to consider paving that street instead of spending the extra money going and doing the repairs. If we're going to pave the street, let's look at that street. Let's determine if we have to do any water runoff repairs. Instead of paving it and then later have to dig our pavement back up, so I think next year what we're going to do is work on streets we know we're going to give a consideration to paving, and then go in there and do some water replacement, only pave it once instead of paving it twice. Just a suggestion. Another thing we have to do is, I believe we need to come up with an ordinance. In the effort to pave in the borough, driveways or berms, what we're finding out is on the water runoff from storms, when contractors come in and lay the pavement, the blacktop, they're blacktopping at street level. Instead of doing the cut down and cutting out the berm, or cutting the berm out where the driveway is going to come down to allow the water to flow on the berm, they're just coming in, laying a blacktop. They don't care if they raise it or not. So the water that's following the natural drain is coming to the new pavement, which is now up here, because they didn't do the cut down. And cut down isn't the right word.
Well, they usually build the edges down is what they do.
Build the edges down. Build the edges down. And I think these contractors come in, they're going to give them a good price because they're not going to do any of that extra work. They dig down and keep the pavement at the same level, or keep that blacktop at the same level as the existing berm. Because, this person might not want their blacktop, nor this person. So in between, we have this nice looking blacktop, which is up, and the water's coming out of the street and going around it, or it's just sitting there in a puddle. Not only that, the driveways are being put in. They're bringing down the pavement to the roadway across the berm and creating a dam on either side. So when water comes down, it has to come down to that dam, go out onto the street, back into the berm and down. I think we have to have an ordinance or something similar, whatever the solicitor suggests, that when these contractors come in, Number one, we have to have one of our maintenance in there. Secondly, the ordinance would suggest or say that they have to cut that down to street, below street level, whatever the payment. The payment's gonna be 1 inch, they gotta be down 1 inch. So we keep this water runoff. I don't think I have to tell any one of you that during these storms, we've seen more water runoff going down our streets and down our alleys. In part, the past couple of years, the sewage department is making an effort nationwide, it's not here, that to take the water downspouts out of the sewer lines. And by doing that, we're putting all this extra water in the streets. And down our alleyways, heavy with water. That's another reason why we got to keep these drains, these road runoff drains open. Because we're getting more and more water.
Yeah, kind of to that, after every heavy rain, you'll notice that the sewage authority is around doing smoke tests because they're having an influx in sewage water. Now, they've been here in the borough last week, after that heavy rain. 3 weeks ago, they were here. They're everywhere looking for people who are taking their downspouts, which is classified as clean water, and running it into the sewers. Now, dirty water is sink water, commode water, urination water, floor water in the basement, and floor water in a garage is dirty water. Now, clean water is as a roof water off of a garage, roof water off of a house. And they have found many people who have done that, and they're by law, they can make them pull them out and run them on to the ground, and that's where we're picking up more water.
Thank you, Mr. Dyer.
I have a comment, if I may. We do have an ordinance concerning our berms. And a year or two ago, there was a gentleman down the street here that put cement blocks out in the berm. And I asked council to instruct him that that had to be removed. And council didn't think it was a problem. But I'm pretty sure we have an ordinance covering what you're talking about. They're called gutters in that ordinance.
Gutters or berms?
They're called gutters.
That's the problem.
That's the proper term.
We'll have to look at it, find the ordinance which has that in.
I have it.
So, bring it out.
Yeah, I'd like to get a contact and give it to our solicitor and have him, if that gives us enough teeth when contractors come in to require them to do, that requires them to have one of our maintenance people there to make sure it's taken down to the grade.
That's what it should be. I've questioned that for years, why there are people allowed to bring their driveway straight out to the nice purpose of water runoff.
I was asked about it by someone who put one in here at the beginning of the summer, and I said, yes, but make sure. Contractor came in and did just that. And water comes down and around the street.
Hey, Bobby, how about mending the streets? I mean, all we keep doing is paving. Paving. And mending the streets up?
No,
It's not going to say,
it's not going to be stayed.
I'd sooner have the street built up, because the way it works. Then now you go down.
I'll email that to you.
I had asked,
Oh, it costs more.
It costs more.
I had asked council a meeting or two ago, we're going to be doing a lot more of this water runoff pipes as they collapse. We weren't scheduled, we're going to do Carter, one of this batch we did. Instead, we had to go over to Garfield Street because in the middle of the street, we had a dimple. We knew right away, they knew right away. When I say we, not me, okay, meaning the maintenance crew, saw the dimple, we had to go over there and replace that one on Garfield Street and Central Avenue. And we're going to find more of these right as we go along. They're now at a point in life where they're
collapsing or anything more. I talked to you about a pavement saw. We didn't really talk to it in depth. There was some sense of, yeah, it's a good idea, another sense we can't afford it, blah, blah, blah. Well, we can never afford anything. It's just the way the economy is. I did look into a saw. Matter of fact, when you do cut, we're using one that we rent. We're paying for it. If it's not available, they have been using the little one for the short ones. This next one we're going to do on Carter is 300 feet of cutting, 150 either side we're going to cut. Because it helps save our road, so when we dig it, we don't pick up the black pump on either side of it. So I got 3 prices, one from Northern Tool, it's a walk behind, $17.99. One from Granger for $21.75, and one from Knickerbocker for $4,800. I don't know why that one's so extremely high. But I'd like to, if you want to talk about it, you can talk about it. If you think we do, or if you think we don't, but I'd like for council to consider getting one. And it has other uses too, it's just not for the motor runoffs.
What are the quality of the $17.99 versus the next one?
Actually, it's the same one.
Oh, it's
It's the same one.
all right.
So one's charging 17, the other charging 25.
And they're the
Or
same,
21.
they're the same inches, the size the same?
You know, I'm going to tell you yes, because it's the same, the numbers.
Okay.
I had Rick do this for me. I didn't do it myself. Rick did it. He gave this to me. Said, look at the prices. He would recommend the Granger. And Granger also was out of the price.
It's a markup on it, that's all, profit.
When we rent, what we
I
pay.
don't know. It's built
Like
into.
about $190 an hour.
Well, how many hours do we use it?
8.
Well, there you go. You're almost
It's
that way.
paying for itself. We buy one that we can use.
Yeah.
And we can rent it out, by the way, too. We can also rent it, because there's others.
I make a motion that we purchase the one for $17.99. The saw.
Motion by Paula to purchase a cement cutting walk behind.
I'll second.
Second by Bernie. All in favor? Aye. No opposed? Opposed by Des? Motion passed.
$17.99 was from where?
Granger.
That was from Granger, and then the other one was from Northern Pool.
No, you said the $17.99 was Northern.
Yeah, it was more than-
Yeah, Granger was a little.
Sorry. Thank you. That's two papers. Northern.
Yeah, more than. Yeah, people even have to start to realize that most of these tin whistles is what they're called, were put in the 20s and 30s. Okay, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 2010. That's 80 years. And they're falling apart. Most of them, when you go ahead and dig them down, all you have is maybe 6 inches on the top, and everything from the sides and bottom are totally gone. We're into the mud. Our inner structure of this borough has to be repaired. And we just cannot say, continue to piecemeal it. When we see it, we have to do it. Because it's for your betterment and for our betterment and for anybody else that comes into this borough to do any business or visit anybody, that the street doesn't fall out from underneath them and we get sued. So the longer and the more work that we can do our own and have the proper equipment to do it, we have to do it. It's going to cost us money. The old timers put the best stuff in the ground that was available at that time. Stuff right here in front of you is new, 20th century, 21st century. And will all be long gone by the time this ever was. You can be up there or down there looking at it. Just depends what side of the boat you will want to be. But we have to do this.
That's right.
We're not sure we're not going to be sitting in here talking about it. And then it's going to be your grandkids, great grandkids. Yeah. Is there anything else, Paul?
Not this time.
Mr. President, on Bob's note concerning the private driveways, can that be included in the solicitation for bidding on our asphalt, that any and all private contracts adhere to what Bob had mentioned? Can that be included in that, the bidding
They
process?
have that, the outside contractor cut them down and put the swells in them.
Well, yeah, for the private
For the
contracts,
private,
because it's gonna be the same contractor.
Whoever who done our asphalting this year, if you went down the street and there was a driveway here and the street was here and it's straight taper, he would have the right to go ahead and cut back on our right of way and put the swell in it.
So that is included in our bidding contract?
It has never been included in.
Well, then, I think that would maybe circumvent any ordinance if we include that in the bidding contract and they have to adhere to those specifications.
We're still gonna have an ordinance on that because we get it asphalted like last month and somebody builds a garage and goes ahead and does their driveway now before winter and they'll bring their driveway
Okay,
straight
so
up.
it could be a different contract, that's a good point. Okay, thank you.
We'll put it both ways. When it goes out to bid, they run into one, we'll notify the landowner that the driveway's gonna be cut, the swell's gonna be put in there. And if there's, when we asphalt, if somebody comes to say, we're gonna asphalt my driveway, we're gonna just taper it further right in, you're gonna say, no, here's the ordinance, you have to have a swell right on our property. And it is our property, not theirs. Even though you cut the grass and you're compelled to do it, it's still our property.
Good point, all right.
We're protecting ourselves.
All right, thank you.
Robert? Done? Thank you. I'll put this on. Personnel?
Nothing on order.
Okay. Thank you. Finance Committee?
We gotta get, when are you gonna start the budget, Carl?
Probably within a month.
The personnel committee, who's all on, we gotta get together and work up budgets for the street department and the police department, so we can give it.
Shade Tree Committee, Nancy?
Yeah, I had a busy month. I had a call on August 19th from Mark Wilson, the forester for West Penn Power Company. And he wanted to inform me that they will be coming through the borough the end of October, beginning of November to top the trees, or they cut them in a V, to get them out of all the lines. This will all be on one side of every street because the lines are on the one side. Okay, then he said we would all be getting a card in the mail, and I got mine this week, so I'm assuming everybody has gotten informing of this project. And then in talking with him that day, then he mentioned the Kevin Smith property. He was aware of it, the one that we have been working on at 108 Bluff Street, but it's also known as 109 Harrison Street. So in talking then, he said, would you want to meet me over there at that Smith's property? And so I drove over that morning and looked at this tree and everything, and he said he was going to ask one to come in and take the tree down. And he said then, as they go along, trimming or topping the trees, he said, I'm going to have them make notes of adjacent trees or problem trees that they cite as they go along. They will not be cutting those trees at that point. But he said once they compile the list, he's going to submit that information to me. And that I will be aware of any problem trees, or our committee will be aware of any problem trees in the borough. And I said, I would really appreciate that. That would be a big help because I don't drive around every day looking for problem trees. So I appreciated that. And it's a good, working back today just to check with him and ask him how did he know about this first tree. And he said that somebody had reported it on a customer service number, which he said is included on that card that we did receive in the mail this week. And that is the way to report a tree. He said, call that customer service number. Don't call like Ask One Direct because they can't handle all those calls. But they are contractors for West Penn Power, and then they in turn, get in touch, either handle the situation or get in touch with us to address the problem with the tree. He also reported there are 2 blights, diseases in trees going through Wkcm and out into Sedgwick Plan and whatever. The one affects ash trees, and the other one affects oak trees. The one disease is an emerald ash borer, and it's caused by an insect. And it takes 2 to 3 years to kill the entire tree. You can have chemicals injected into the tree to try to slow it down. Now that just attacks ash trees. But then the second one is called a sudden oak wilt. And it's sudden oak wilt. And it spreads through the root systems of trees. And if you have several trees in a row and it hits one, it travels. So if you can eliminate that diseased root, then that would save your other trees. I don't know how you determine which root has it in. I don't understand that part. But he did explain that to me. And the leaves on those trees would turn odd colors, and the tree looks like it's been burnt. So that's the indication that that tree is diseased with that. And he said that there's a lot of this out near the intersection where the Butler Road and 268 separates and goes like towards the Sedgwick Plan. He said there's a lot of that out in there.
That's East Franklin.
I thought so. He said, I'm not sure that's Wkcm, East Franklin. I said, well, I wasn't sure myself. But that was information that he supplied. When he contacted that Mr. Smuts direct, and he was out of the country at the time. Mark thinks he was in Sweden. I guess he travels with his work. Anyways, Mark told him that he was going to address that tree and take it down. And Kevin, of course, gave his approval, but he said to save the logs because he wants to burn them in his fireplace. So that's why the logs are still laying there on the burn, the property.
At 6:20 they left. The logs are gone.
Are they gone? They were there yesterday. Right?
I changed the sign from that cardboard to a white one, and I just saw it go by in the truck.
Oh my gosh, isn't that boring?
Yeah.
We have good team. Okay, the logs are gone. Okay, that's pretty much the story on that tree. And then he explained to me the wire system on the poles. The top one is the electric. And then there's a guide wire, and then there's like cable or telephone wires. But they're concerned with the electric.
The electric, that's all.
Yeah, and he said about those poles, which you mentioned earlier today. Those poles are all on halfway, like property and Berta line.
Yeah, they're right on the line.
Yeah, and the guide wire is between, 2 trees, the whole thing secure. Okay, that's pretty much the story on that. The property at 180 Summit Avenue, which the woman had the tree taken down, and Bob assisted me in obtaining the property owner's name on that. It was a Pamela McChrystal. She had the tree down, and then she thought the borough should take that all away. Well, it was explained to her, we don't remove all of that, those cuttings and everything. So then, anyways, eventually, Bob told me that Steve Fox actually removed all of that. So I suggested to Bob, perhaps contact people like that and say, we can't remove all of that. But we could, the borough guys perhaps could make a pass over there and like clean off the debris from the street or what. In other words, show some PR, if you want to call it that, to show the residents that we're willing to work with them. You know, we can't maybe just meet all their requirements or demands, but we can do some things to assist people. So did you contact them then? Did they, do you know?
We didn't have to, they cleaned everything up there.
That's
Yeah,
good.
I was up there and talked to her. And the person who cut that down went in there like a elephant in the china shop. Didn't care for the borough or anything else. Just cut it down, threw it down over the bank. He didn't ask if we would pick it up. She didn't ask. It doesn't take much for either one of them. They could have called the borough shed and asked, do we pick this up and so forth. And when I was told about it, I went up there and talked to her very nicely until the party that cut them down came over and very belligerently told me to get lost. So you can write the words, whatever you want to into that. I didn't lose my temper like somebody might have. I told him that we would not pick that up. He had to haul it away. It did sit there for about a week or so, and then they hauled it all away. Which is astonishing to me because one night it was there, next night it was gone. So,
well, I didn't know I have to write a letter on it because it all stands for
well, like I said,
you know.
if she wanted to know if we pick it up, she's up there most of the time because she's not working, and she could have called very easily. And I don't think it's maybe our borough employees to stop and say, hey, we can't pick it up. I think Rick did initiate that part of it, and things got a little heated and walked away.
The board does assist in the poor people that if they have a bush or something they picked up or pulled on rather, they haul away. Well, some cuts down a huge tree, which is not in tree removal business.
Rick usually calls me if he notices something, and I'll go out as soon as I can. Most of the time, within 20 minutes after he calls me, I'm at that job site to take a look at it. We just got to keep trying to keep the borough clean.
Would you please give me a call, keep me informed of those things because we are the tree.
There's times that I don't have time to call because I'm between here and
We
there.
need to be informed and do our part as much as possible.
Those trees were not on board property, they were on private property.
Yeah,
To what you're talking about.
yeah, they were right up against the
They
house.
they didn't have to contact you to get permission.
Okay.
No.
I never was in touch with the people. I was informed about the tree.
I got involved with Officer Airgood too. He went out and told them.
Well, if you just maybe have people call us, we can, talk with them on the phone.
Yeah.
I'm glad we got that before.
All right.
The other one is Buzz Solis, Erwin Solis' tree at 128 Harrison. And he's the one, the tree, I believe the weather took it and
That was the house next
damaged
door.
the Jeep. The Jeep. Damaged the Jeep.
No, is it Solis's?
It is, I've talked to him 3 times.
Okay, well, I was told that the person who rents that house cut it up to get it off the Jeep and just stacked it.
Well, it's all laying there.
Yeah, it's all laying there.
But he has contacted a man, a tree removal man, who took down all those 25, 30 trees along the side of his property a few months ago. But this man has never showed up to take the tree down. So I sat down at the phone book and compiled a list of some tree removal companies. I called him today to ask him what is the situation now with the tree. He's still waiting on the insurance adjuster. He's never heard from that. The man he contacted to come take down the tree has never come back to him. So I gave him some names of other companies, and he appreciated that. He's going to check into it. He said, I'll give this man one more chance. And if he doesn't come, I'll contact one of these other companies and see if they can go and remove the tree
trees back on this property, so,
Yes.
so we could live on. Are you done?
Thank you.
I am finished.
All right, Crime Watch, you already said that the meeting is tomorrow night, 7 o'clock here.
Yes, and if we could get approval maybe on the newsletter before tomorrow night, so I know if I can get it printed to start passing it out in October.
All right, you did give samples of that newsletter here? Everybody have a chance to look at it?
I see the one error is the speed limit of alleys are 15 mile per hour.
I had, Bob had told me to put 10.
Oh, I'm talking officer behavior, it's 15.
It's 15.
In our alley, within a municipal code, it's listed as 10 miles per hour, but the minimum speed limit that you're allowed to go by is 15 miles per hour. So in the past, whenever originally, and I don't have a copy of the original ordinance, how long ago it was issued at 10 miles an hour, but it is 15 miles an hour.
And also, I requested, a notice be put in there for building permits. I don't see it in there anywhere. I guess officer behavior. She was talking, you were talking, I don't know.
Get it out.
You're gonna get it in, okay, thank you.
Yep, I'll get it for tomorrow night.
All right. Well, this is the problem. I don't know if this is council's responsibility or how council feels with this newsletter. That's why I wish Mickey was here, because I don't know what they did in the past. Cliff, could you make a comment?
Years ago, I mean, we passed it out for a couple of years, it was well received, and then when we quit doing it, people would request it. Here a couple of years ago, we brought it up at council meeting, I wanted to get some recommendations from council, I didn't receive any, so it never got off the ground.
Does council need to approve this?
Yeah, because, yeah, it's content for borough information. I mean, there can't be any solicitation, no advertising in there, you know, no political stuff.
You have to have advertising to pay for it. Like
There's no
next year.
advertising, there was no advertising in the prior ones.
Yeah, there was.
Yeah, there was.
I'll bring a copy.
I
And I'll
have,
show you.
Yeah.
I have like 5 of them.
Okay, so do I.
I think the beginning ones didn't, but then whenever it was started up again, like next to your bank, and I'm just using that as an example.
Well, I know the original was never did.
The original one was done on one council, you were right, but then it was started up again, and there was ads in there to help pay for the copies. But it's like the businesses.
She has one that I have, and there's some ads in, I think towards the end maybe.
So that'll have to be approved by council if you're gonna have advertisement in there.
I think it would be decent to have some advertising in it, because that'll help defray some of the costs.
Oh, I agree with
We
council.
cannot absorb the total cost of it, you know. We do have some businesses in here. We have a business that just put almost $1 million into his business.
Well,
And I
if you
know
don't have
Troy
the
would,
sun
huh?
advertisement, you have to let the entire Wkcm Borough have opportunity to put it in if you have one. And you have to open it up to let all of them put an ad in it if they want to.
If they want to, you can have an advertising person, people that are putting it together, contact some of the businesses.
Mickey's passed out a paper to quite a few businesses in the area that offers them the opportunity to advertise.
I don't know who all she's passed it out to.
I know she's passed out quite a few.
You know what I mean, like, just per se, I had a business and I was like, I didn't get asked. You know what I mean, and that might,
Okay.
We can even put just a thing in there saying, if you want to advertise in the future, please contact,
Okay.
you know, in case we did miss something.
right.
Or have a revenue. I mean, you know, if there's enough businesses that you have more than you need, you don't want 6 pages of ads.
It's the same way as the little containing paper, that's what they do. And you'll get people who will ask for ads, and there'll be people who say they don't want to advertise, that they have enough business by word of mouth. So, when Mickey gets home, we'll talk.
Okay.
And if they do get, say, 50 ads, where does that money go to? What would
The
that money
production
be?
of this,
But if it's an abundance, like say you end up with $10,000, I'm just saying.
no, come on.
I mean, yeah, I mean,
I'm not gonna do that. I'm sorry.
you charge $50 an ad.
It is going, she had on the paper, it was an eighth of the page.
Right, the page
For
25.
So you get $25 and say you have 50, is that 25 for a year, 25 for a?
25 for like the.
Each edition.
Fall, winter,
edition.
and then we'll do
So I
spring,
mean,
summer.
that could accumulate to,
Does that payable to West County Borough?
No, it's
Yeah,
the
right.
crunch.
We go into an escrow account.
and to use it for what though?
The newsletter.
For the new
I understand that.
He's been helping us too,
Yeah.
so he knows a little bit.
And speaking with Mickey, the West County Borough Crime Watch was going to take the responsibility of doing the newsletter. They wanted to make sure the material that was printed in that newsletter was correct and passed through council here in case there was any additional things that needed to be placed in there, such as the mayor had said, for example, about, notice of permits or whatever else that we need to attend to on that particular end of it. Money received from any advertisement goes to Crime Watch, and it would help then in the future fund those future newsletters. So any overabundance of money goes directly to the Crime Watch. The Crime Watch is a function of its own, has its own banking and record-keeping systems and whatever else. So that individual agency will take care of anything that's done there. The newsletter was just being presented to council, from my understanding, talking to Mickey last, that she wanted to make sure that anything that you guys needed to put in there could be addressed so that it could be passed out here in a timely manner instead of waiting for the next meeting or whatever else. Because, of course, Halloween notice and things like that will be posted in it. It would be kind of counterproductive to approve the Halloween ad in November.
Question,
Yes.
Councilor Hagan or Council. Will Mickey Lang be making a financial statement every month on the balance of the monies the Crime Watch has?
I don't know what the bylaws are for the Crime Watch. They're, community crime watches are set out across the nation. They're supported by the county agencies, district attorney's office, and so forth. I have no idea what their requirements are.
Did you hear that question, Mr. President? Will Mickey Lang be making a financial statement on the monies that the Crime Watch Committee has in escrow?
I'll have to talk with her, I don't know what, she's not here tonight, I can't defend what she has to say.
Okay. You're gonna be at the Crime Watch meeting tomorrow?
She's on her way home now,
She'll be back.
tomorrow.
She should be here.
Okay. She'll be at the Crime Watch meeting.
She should.
Okay, then I'll question her at the meeting then, concerning
She's on
that.
a humane drive home, so more power to her. She's gonna be tired when she gets home. We'll talk to her tomorrow.
I'll be at the meeting tomorrow.
So will I.
I'll ask her that.
Are these going to be handed out at each home, or do you pick them up at the borough building?
No, we're gonna get volunteers and pass them out all around. Maybe said there's like 900, so we were gonna do maybe like 1,000 copies that way.
Because we put them in the store, a lot of people don't go to the stores anymore.
Yeah. I think it's a nice
The
idea.
back for
Because not
instance.
everybody has the internet. Not
Right.
everybody gets the newspaper.
No,
So
that's something that,
I
Go
don't
with
feel
me.
that you should do advertising, but that's mine.
It's
That's
not a
mine.
profit making.
okay, you want a motion to accept the newsletter as it stands now, or do you want to wait and go over?
We'd like to start passing it out in October, at the beginning, only because Halloween's on the back page. So we need to know if that information is correct.
Without advertising for this.
Meeting the third. How long does it take you to print them out?
Mickey was taking them to a printer. I'm not sure.
In other words, one day.
Probably not.
Can we wait till October meeting?
I'll let you just say.
So hey, it's on the 3rd.
That's gonna be entirely up to you guys. Like I said,
That's.
you're a different entity,
For Halloween.
you know, you're asking them to just look through the information, you know, so.
I think we should look at it to see if there's anything we needed to add to it, if there's anything that we feel should go into it more.
Well, the mayor's already asked for something, he wasn't in, so then
Yeah.
we need more time.
All right, let's we will make a decision on October 3rd at our meeting. That still gives us 3 weeks to Halloween. And we will find people to deliver these by
You
hand
will
by
find
the
people,
labor, huh?
you will find people, or they will find people?
I said, we will find people.
Oh, okay.
I was gonna say.
Marie, you gonna handle that?
Oh, yeah.
We need somebody to do it.
I'm retired. Yeah.
Like, if you guys
Can I
give
read
a copy to me or something, then I could pass it out to everyone like beforehand, so they have it to review, so they can vote on it at the meeting or whatever.
I assume you have it in your computer, you just email it to her, and then she can get it all to us.
You have it
That way-
electronically, I can send it to everyone so that they have it for the meeting, so we can.
The inserts though, it will be in a separate email because they're from Officer
Okay.
Megan, so it'll be like 2 copies.
That's fine, just so everyone has it ahead of time, so we're not scrambling to.
between you, Harley,
Thank you
and
for
the all
that.
liaisons person.
Thank you.
This looks
Thank
Thank
You want to put the, okay, we'll talk with Mickey then tomorrow also, and go from there. Police committee? Nothing at this time? Okay, at this time, we're going to go into executive session, personnel reasons.
Is this just for, just the council people, or who else to go to the?
Council, 1, 2, 3.